So around 3 months ago, I decided to make the switch from controller to keyboard and mouse. Before making the switch, I had a sustained period where I hadn't been playing Fortnite. The last time I was playing Fortnite consistently was back in Season 3. Back in Season 3, the game was a lot simpler and definitely not as building and editing orientated as it is today. Back then I was considered a good controller player, was able to get a lot of wins in normal solos. I don't even believe Arena was out back then. But on my return to Fortnite, I simply was just not going to be a good controller player as much as even a new keyboard and mouse player. So when evaluating which input I wanted to use, I decided to use KBM. In my personal opinion, after watching World Cup and have seen generally most pros are on keyboard and mouse for their input. So in my opinion, this must mean it is easier to get to a higher level on keyboard and mouse than on controller. Hence why less players are at the top of the game on controller over KBM. So after making the decision that I was going to be using keyboard and mouse, I did actually make some improvements to my setup. Some of the improvements were buying a 144Hz monitor. This was going to make my game smoother, as with higher FPS, that is basically the main benefit of being on PC. As well as that, I did also buy myself a new keyboard, as I did have a pretty standard one, so I went all out and bought an Apex Pro. Lastly, I did then go and buy a new desk, as I didn't have the best mouse position for my two arms. As you've been able to see, I was kind of at an angle and I didn't have both my hands in front of me. Now I'm using a bigger desk and I've got the best space possible to be able to use my mouse as well as my keyboard. Obviously this was quite a bit of money, but I was very serious in trying to be as good as I can at Fortnite. So before we do get into the improvements I made over the last 3 months, I'm going to just go plug my Twitch. I've been going live on there every day, and as a lot of you know, if you are a regular to the channel, we are live there all the time playing Zone Wars with viewers. So if that is something you will be interested in, be sure to come hit me with a follow, Mark Glad on Twitch, first link in the description, and come over there, give me a follow, and hopefully we can play together soon. But let's get into the very first month of how good I was on Fortnite and go throughout my progression. So in the first month, there were many things I did indeed practice. In this section of the video, I am more or less just going to be covering what I did actually cover in my 1 month progression, so if you didn't check out that video, it's probably worth checking it out. I will leave a link in the description. But for context in this video, we are briefly going to touch on some things. Some things that I did practice was 90ing. 90ing is a quick way to take height from opponents, so this was a key element of my game I did practice early on. Other than that, I was using a lot of edit courses to practice editing, as this was quite a new thing. Even from when I did play back in Season 3, editing wasn't a big thing, and edit courses in Creative was a great way to practice this. After I became more comfortable with editing in these edit courses, it was then time for me to practice free building. The difference between free building and using an edit course is, other than just editing in an edit course, whilst free building, you're also building the edit course as such, as well as editing through it. Of course, this is more realistic to game, but as I was progressing, it would have been too soon to just start off with free building. After becoming somewhat comfortable with free building, I was then practicing tunneling, as this is a big thing within Zone Wars, which I was also playing a lot throughout the month over on my Twitch, as I did mention in the intro. Again, link is in description. So the different two tunnels I was practicing was one where you use free builds, it's called a triangle tunnel I believe, as well as a standard box tunnel method. As I did say, I was also playing a lot of Zone Wars, but I did do a lot of box fights more off stream. I was box fighting people more or less off my Twitter or my Discord. Again, them socials are linked down below, as well as my Twitch. Box fighting is what you want to get good at, because in game, typically, the better box fighters are normally the best players. This is being able to peek well, quick edits, taking walls, and all of the above. Last thing I did practice within the first month was aiming. Aiming is very overlooked, especially when you do make the switch to keyboard and mouse. What makes controller so effective is that players on controller do have aim assist. This means that they hit more shots, more 200 pumps, and all of the above, so it does make aiming very OP on controller. On keyboard and mouse it is pretty difficult to aim, especially when you've never played on PC before. So I spent a lot of time in Kovacs. This is a third party game which you basically is shooting at tiles, but it gets you familiar with how much to move your mouse to hit different targets on the screen. As well as this, I did get some friends and I did some aim duels. This is a map where you just go into a box, you have a lot of health, and the main objective is to be hitting your opponent, your friend, whoever it is, as much as possible, and it is as realistic as you can get when maybe you're in a box with someone on another team when you're in a game of arena. You want to be hitting them shots, and aim duel is a lot more effective than Kovacs as you are actually playing Fortnite and mimicking what someone else may be moving like in game. But these were the main things that I did do in the first month. I did see a very good progression and I was motivated as ever, so we did push on into the second month. In the second month, other than just continuing doing what we had been doing previous in month 1, we did actually start playing our very first cups. Again, if you're not new to the channel, you would already know this, but we did play in Mongrel Cup, DreamHack, the Aqua and Nyrox Duo Cup, and I also played in my very first ever solo FNCS. When playing these cups, how I found myself improving in particular was I was placing better in every single cup. In Mongrel Cup, I had my worst ever placement. In DreamHack, I had my second best ever placement. And in my Duo Cup, I had my best ever placement. Of course, I was playing with a more experienced duo at the time. However, just my gameplay and rotations alone was a lot better than in my first ever cup. When referring to FNCS, if you aren't already aware, only players within Champions Division can play. Automatically this makes the standard of FNCS a lot harder, so I'm not too sure how I can count this map, or this cup should I say, compared to other cups. But on the whole, FNCS could have gone a lot worse, and I definitely was improving throughout the cups. So the second month we did play a lot more online, a lot more cups, a lot more arena, and a lot less creative. So overall in this month, I'd say I maybe didn't improve mechanically quite as much as in the first month, but the game sense we defo did improve. So moving into the last month of our 3-month progression, I did find myself playing a lot more than in the second month in particular. In the third month there was a lot less cups going on, so I found myself playing a lot more creative like I was in the first month. Other than in the third month, playing a lot of edit courses because I do find this is the best way to practice your edit speed as well as just free building. I found myself playing a lot of Zone Wars. Again, for those that aren't familiar with Zone Wars, I'm sure most of you are. Zone Wars are where 16 people can get into a creative lobby and it's a free-for-all. There's a zone that pushes you in a certain direction, and of course you'll be covering yourself as there are 15 other players that can shoot you. Not fully realistic compared to a real game, but of course when you do get endgame in custom matches in tournaments, you do have a zone pushing you in one direction, you've got to rotate while covering yourself and potentially be taking shots and killing people. So I found this a great way, especially very time efficient. This is because I weren't spending loads of time in an arena game, looting up, getting on more weapons, maybe taking 10 minutes to find someone and then dying. Every few, let's say 3 minutes, every round, I was always in a new fight, in a new situation, and that all I was practicing. Getting familiar with fighting, staying alive, and typically these Zone Wars had a lot better players than me in, so it's good practice either trying to kill them, or at least trying to stay alive, avoid them, and maybe get some smart shots off. So again, we did obviously mention it in the intro, but I do these Zone Wars pretty much every day over on my Twitch, so again, if you haven't checked me out on Twitch, Mark Glad over there, hit me with a follow, and if you are trying to improve, get on a progression similar to me, this is a great way to practice, and you may as well come over and get some games in. Other than just Zone Wars, this wasn't the only thing we were doing. Towards the end of the third month, we also started playing a lot of 8s. If you don't know what these are, this is effectively a 4v4 in a Zone Wars variant map. You have someone go low ground, someone go high ground, then there's 2 mid ground positions. One in cuck, which means they're closer to the enemy, and then the other position is further away from the enemy. So say you are on the left hand side, the other team of 4s on the right hand side, your cuck position will be in the right mid spot. 8s is a lot different because you're not just playing for yourself, you got to be aware of everyone else, but I find another thing this does a lot, other than help your awareness an absolute ton, I found it helped me so much, it's also communication. Everything I've done to this point, I've had to practice little to no communication. This could be something like someone's on you, to let's push this guy, let's build out, get up for high ground, all these different comms I haven't had to practice or even do yet. There's something just to get me more familiar, more comfortable with doing. So again, I found these a great way, and I found them a lot of fun. When I watch pro players such as Clicks in particular, he does a lot of 8s, 2v2s, using this sort of Zone Wars map. So I found them good fun, and like I say, other than the communication, helped with my awareness a ton, and again, it is another way of fighting, quick fire action, unlike where you go into arena or anything else where it may be a fight every 10 minutes. The way I played these was playing with people from my Twitch yet again, but also from my Discord. I know it's plug central over here, but we are going to plug the Discord. If you want to be playing 8s, that's the best place to go if you do want to play them. I run 8s pretty much at the end of half the streams I do throughout the week, because I find them great fun, like I said, and my viewers seem to love them. So again, if that's something you may be interested in, go join my Discord, and again, get over to my Twitch and get involved. The last thing I wanted to show you was more just my edit speed. Of course, I've said throughout the 3-month progression I've always been doing edit courses, and I find this is the best time to just show you right now where I am with my edit speed, some of my free building, and of course I'm going to be showing some clips from the first month in particular that you would have seen earlier on in the video, so you can get a direct comparison how we have improved. Of course, you can see I'm a lot more consistent, a lot faster, and a lot more precise with the movements. Especially when you start, you tend to overdo the movements. You have to do the smallest movement to select 2 tiles, but I think when you start out, you do a lot bigger movement, like you have to select each tile from the middle. Hopefully you can see a big improvement. I certainly can, and it may not show as well in the video, but throughout playing I find it a lot easier. Right YouTube, we are going to end the video there. Hopefully you did enjoy the progression, and hopefully it either motivated you or just maybe showed you some tips you can do to improve if you've been on KBM for quite a long time and struggling. At this moment in time, I'm very confident and happy with how far we have came, but again I'm also very excited to see how far we can go. At the moment I'm just enjoying the process, no pressure to be too good too soon, and we're just going to see where we go. I feel like there isn't too much else to ramble about really YouTube, other than just to say, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with my progression moving forward, as well as all the other cuts and all the other content we have got planned for you, and make sure you turn that post notification bell on to not miss any of that content. One last thing is I do want to say thanks for the support on the channel so far. It's only the start and we're not planning on stopping anytime soon. But that is going to be all for today's video YouTube. Hopefully you did enjoy, and hopefully we will catch you in the next one.